Welcome to episode 200. That's not even proper sign language for 200, but I'm doing what I can. I am Patty. I'm an ADHD coach. My passion is finding ways to tilt that playing field and thrive with ADHD. This is episode 200.
That's crazy.
I know. And so we're going to have a lot of celebrations. If you're interested in more support than you currently have in your life, I invite you to check out my membership. It is affordable, it's ADHD friendly, literally. It's the name, and it is ADHD friendly. Check it out, ADHD-Friendly.com, where people with ADHD get more things done. In this 200th episode, I will be celebrating 200s. I got a couple of 200s I'm celebrating. I'm going to update my spending, just a little bit of spending, but it also is my product of the week that I'm going to highlight. And then I've got an ADHD friendly tip to share that is about externalizing what you want to do more consistently. So we're focusing on consistency the whole month of August in the membership community with my hybrid course, and August is consistency month. So we're talking all about ways to be more consistent with our inconsistent brain wiring. And then, of course, we will dive into our main topic, which is about celebrating systems, not perfection. And then I'll wrap up, as I always do, with my book of the week for this 200th episode. And it's a goodie. I'm so excited. All right, let's jump in with my celebration. And it is, I have hit 200 weeks of my Monday through Thursday yoga routine, plus 200 episodes as we record this 200th episode. Even though the dates don't exactly line up, this is the 200th episode, and it's the week of my 200 weeks of yoga with Adrienne.
Amazing.
So I've got a picture. The other celebration is I took the picture. This was an undertaking. And I have to say, if I wasn't visualizing using the motivation of being able to take this picture for my success journal, my visual success journal, I would have given up taking it, because even though I waited for a day where I kind of timed it so that it would be not horrifically hot and not too windy, the slightest breeze, because I'm taking pictures of all of my calendar pages I track my yoga on. They're just the desk blotter of calendar pages. And they just kept blowing away. And I'm taping them down, and then like the tape would all like roll, but I only taped certain parts, so it would get all like origami, and I had to figure out how to unfold it and get it to lay flat again. So, and then I did it initially on the grass, because that was where I always pictured it. And my ADHD brain, and I know a lot of us are like this, because there's a trend in a lot of my clients where it's just, this is the way. And then our brain doesn't think of an alternative. We just do the all or nothing thing. And so the grass was still all dewy, because I was trying to do it when there was a lot of shade.
So it didn't get too hot.
And so I'm like, oh, well, let me find some old sheets to put down first. Great. And then but like everything's like uneven as I'm trying to take these pictures. And I had my daughter come out and take pictures for me, which was perfect. But it, when I looked at them afterwards, I was like, I didn't feel that satisfaction. It wasn't what I envisioned. I put my yoga mat in the middle of them, so it covered up a bunch of the dates. So it looked, I was like, is that 200 weeks?
Are we sure?
Because my my 1 year picture, which I thought I had in here, but I guess I don't, where I took it, I had all of the calendar months here before me. That one still is very satisfying to me. So I thought, well, how much more satisfying is it going to be not just to have 12 months of those calendars, but to have, I had 46 monthly, all of the weeks checked off, just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, never, ever, ever on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, because that wasn't what I wanted to do. But I decided to take all of these papers that have now been like slightly wet because they were blowing around on the dewy grass, and I set it all up on my driveway and drug my daughter out to take the picture again. So you're going to see like the papers are kind of like in various stages, but there's my picture. And I did put them around my yoga mat instead of in the middle of it. And I had her take.
So good. It almost looks like that's not real. Like it looks like a green screen because like that. I don't know. It looks so cool, but it looks like it's so pretty. It doesn't look like a real backdrop almost.
Oh, well, thank you. And then I had her take one of me sitting because I couldn't decide where I was like, well, that one I can kind of crop in a little bit because I'm lower to the ground
So
and you get
fun.
more of a sense. So I'm super excited to have the pictures to add to I call it my expecto patronum journal, because it pushes away the negative self-talk that can sometimes flood my brain. Because as I always say, our brains are wired for negativity and we look for the evidence to support our negative thoughts. And my visual success journal has tons of pictures in it now that I've been building up over the years of evidence I can stick to things and I can be consistent. And it also allows me to notice the patterns that let me be more consistent. So I'm going to talk about that in the content, but that is my celebration. Thank you so much for checking out this 200th episode. It is a huge milestone and it's something I really can't even wrap my mind around. I wore red today because I was so anxious this morning, even talking about it, because it feels almost like that's not real. That's like, and it also feels like I've had people over the years, when I succeed in doing things, it's always because I have structure in place. And so people will push back and say, I don't think you struggle with ADHD. I don't think that is, and Becca knows because she works with me, but it can look, if you don't look, at the corners and behind the curtains and, behind closed doors, it can look, we get really good at masking our ADHD. And so even that I get a little bit in my head about sharing, because it's like, well, of course you can do that because, that's what you do.
Right.
And I'm like, no, I actually struggle a lot to do things. So it's really something that blows my mind that I've done this for 200 weeks without missing a single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. And no matter what happens after that, if I miss a date, like I've done it. And if I fall off at some point, which we all fall off our routines at some point, I have a way to connect back because I've been capturing what works. So
I love that.
yeah, so that's that. Okay, so now for what I purchased this week, I'm still keeping my spending in check.
Yeah.
We're mindful
That's
about it,
awesome.
which is still working well. Generally, check out next week's. But I invested in, because I read an article, never good, but I did, about how I've been doing my French press coffee for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And I love it. I do it every morning. But apparently, because there's no filter, the oils in the coffee beans are in the coffee, which is partly why it tastes so good. But I guess it has whatever is in the oil makes your bad cholesterol wise, and mine was a little higher at my my physical in February, and I didn't know why, because I was like, well, I haven't done anything. I eat my healthy oatmeal, and like, so I was like, I have like my handful of nuts, and I don't understand. Yeah, exactly. I don't understand. And then when I read that article, I was like, that is the one thing I've changed.
The oil.
Yeah.
From the coffee.
And so I invested in a little pour over.
We have one at our house. Yep.
Yeah. And so this little guy, I did get him on Amazon. It was $19.99. It is a 34-ounce pour over coffee maker made by Bodum. B as in boy, O-D-E or U-M, B-O-D-U-M. And I wanted this size because I make coffee for my husband as well. So it's enough to make 2 good size mugs. We don't use the tiny little 8-ounce that I don't know who does that anymore. Yeah, it's a good size mug of coffee. And so 34 ounces fits the bill. I put a little, it comes with this little metal filter, but I just put a paper liner in it.
Smart. Which
my son helped me realize I could, because he was telling me, why don't you just make a pour over? And I was like, I was like, well, it's the same problem.
Right.
And he was like, well, you just put a paper liner in it. And so it does make really good coffee. I do want to put a little asterisk here that it takes a bit time. No, it tastes delicious. It's really good. But
it takes longer.
You can't do, it's not like the French press where you just pour it all in and then set the timer and wait and then push down the plunger. Yeah. You have to like pour it over, wait for it to filter through, pour it over, wait for it to fit. That's a little hard for my brain because I usually use that set. I set mine for 7 minutes. I do the things I need to do. This, you kind of have to stay with it. And so that I want to just put out there. It makes good coffee, really easy to clean, functions well. Everything's great. It just takes focus. Yeah. That can be really hard for us. So I'm not going to say I use this and I'm going to use this every morning. Yeah. But it's an option and it does make really good coffee. I just haven't figured out a way yet to tolerate. I kind of notice some resistance to using it because it does require some mental effort. So if there's any tips on how to tolerate that, if anybody has been doing this and you have something that works as you're hearing me talk about this, please post episode 200. Would love to hear how to make this continue to work for me, because it does make really good coffee, and it's exactly the same process. Just instead of walking away, I just have to keep pouring the water in.
Yeah.
So maybe I can feel like the Nutty Professor or something, where I can hook up something, it just lets it, go in on its own. Yeah. So exactly. Yeah. So that is my product of the week, and what I purchased this week, because I needed it to be a little bit more filtering out the oils, hopefully a little more healthy. But that's that. Okay, so now a little tip for this week. This is my my ADHD friendly tip, is to externalize what you want to do more consistently.
Ooh, how do you do that?
How do we do that? I know, it's a big mystery. So it's often said that with ADHD, we are consistently inconsistent. So we're not consistent with things, but we are consistent with our inconsistency, which isn't really a positive thing. And we don't want that to be our MO, like how we're presenting ourselves to the world. It doesn't serve us. So I'm just going to give you a few tips that I'm covering in the course content this month, that I thought, well, let me bring this to you guys and share it as well, because it's really easy and actionable to do these things to support us to be more consistent around the things that matter to us. So when we talk about externalizing, I'm going to give you just a few examples of each that I'm going to share. The first is to use visual prompts. You guys know I am very visual. I use a lot of visual prompts. So it could be put a Post-it note on the mirror in your bathroom if there's something that you need to do. I kind of think of it as like at the point of the action, where would the prompt need to be? You don't want to put a Post-it note like on the kitchen counter to brush your teeth in the morning, if that's not where you're brushing your teeth. So put a Post-it note where you need it to prompt the action. Set out your, I love if I'm intending to go for a run or, do something active, I like to put the things I'm going to wear in my line of vision. So it reminds me of my intention before, because what would happen if I didn't do that is I'd be dressed for the day. And then I get downstairs and I'm like, oh my gosh, I meant to go work out. I meant to go to the gym, and I'm not going to get on, like, I'm just not, I am not the kind of, I don't do well with having to go back and it's not, it's just not, I have to do it from the get-go. So setting out like walking shoes, I'll put them like in front of me, so there's no way I can miss them. Hopefully I won't trip on them. Like, I want to make sure I'm putting them where I can't miss them. I like to put them in front of a door so I can't open the door with them there.
Right, they're blocking.
Yeah, they're blocking me. So it's a good reminder. If you want to drink more water, maybe you put your empty water container on the counter so that you see it before you fill up with something. It's like, oh, water. That's right. I want to drink more. Yep. If you intend to take your medication, I don't like my medication out, but I have to say, out of sight, out of mind. So I've learned through the years, if I don't have it visible. And this is true even more so, like I'm in a good routine with what I need to do, but like right now my dog has a prescription. If I put that thing away, there's no way. So I have to leave it like really visible on the counter, and I just turn it upside down after I've given it to her, so it reminds me. And then at some point during the day, I'll turn it back over and put it, where I'm going to see it the next morning. Or use a pill sorter, right? So like, I don't mind a pill sorter being on the counter as much as I do like bottles. Yeah. So that's a me thing, but notice what would work for you with a visual prompt. The next is to use cue-based routine. So something that builds to the next thing. So something you're already doing that you're adding something else to. So here's some examples for that. What I just talked about, while my coffee's brewing, I have these things I go do. I go to my calendar, I cross off the day from before. I notice if it's rained. I told you I track if I've watered my veggies. Yep. Has it rained? If not, did I water that morning? I write it down on that calendar. And then I go and refill the dog bowls, refill their water, make sure they have everything that they need. And then typically that's, the timer is going off and it's good. After brushing my teeth, maybe you take your prescription. I have a lot of clients that will tie their morning toothbrush because they're rinsing and they just have their medicine right there. So it's just first thing in the morning, that's what they're doing before they go do anything else. Maybe while you're walking your dogs, you bring in the mail, or you bring in your trash bin if it's out there or whatever. while eating, I have a lot of clients that do this too. They'll tie eating their breakfast to looking at their calendar for the day.
Oh,
So it's just really quickly, I'm already seeing a lot of them already have their phones out. So it's like, I'm just going to look at my calendar, or if you have a planner, keep it on the table somewhere that it's tying that cue to. It's like, I always sit here, so my planner is going to be here as well. And when I sit down, all I'm doing is looking at either your schedule or the list of things you intended to do that day, something that helps connect your brain to what you're trying to do by tying it to what you automatically do already.
Love that.
Instead of at some point during the day, I'm going to brush my teeth, or I'm going to take, that's really hard. Those things that we can do anytime often don't happen at any time. So we need to tie them to a cue-based routine, something we're already doing that can cue it. Okay. That is it. Just thinking about using things to help you be more consistent and doing it with the most ease possible, because that resistance we feel means that what we're asking ourselves is too hard. Kind of like my resistance for this guy. It's not going to be something I do every day if I continue to feel this level of resistance. So I've either got to find an easier way, or my next option that I might be highlighting in a month or more, I'm going to go back to an old drip coffee maker, which I think I have in the garage, but I haven't been able to find it. Yeah, that was originally my plan, but then I couldn't find it. So I'm like, all right, maybe the easiest thing is just to get this guy, because my son said how easy it was, and it is. It just requires patience and tolerating, that you have to stay there with it. It's getting in the way of my time efficiency in the morning. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Now for this 200th episodes topic, I'm calling it 200 episodes, 200 weeks. So I started the yoga routine and the podcast the same month of 2021. I cannot believe I'm saying that. So I'm coming up on 4 years and a couple of months.
That's crazy.
Which blows my mind. And so this week I'm sharing some tips that I use to help me stay consistent for 200 weeks. I want to preface this with, it feels impossible to me even as I say it. And it feels like I really want to level out the expectations. If you're feeling any resistance, if it sounds simple to you, fabulous. Maybe stumbled across this podcast, didn't know what it was about, and this isn't, an area that you need support with, but maybe you're really good at consistency and you have lots of systems. Please post your tips so we can learn more. But as I've shared before, people with ADHD tend to be consistently inconsistent. So we know what to do. We know why we need to do it. We know how to do it. We maybe know when we plan to do it, but we still don't do it. And that can really undermine our own belief in our ability to do the things that we're committing to, other people trusting us to do the things we're saying we're going to do. And many times, even if we do it, we'll struggle to do it repeatedly. So we're not doing consistently. So it's like, I hear this a lot from parents, but it continues into adulthood. We don't just typically outgrow our ADHD, but parents will say, well, I know they can do it because they did it before. I understand that. It's not that they can't do it. It's that they're struggling to repeatedly do something. Often it's like, well, I did it. Now I know how to do it. And it's so boring to think about doing it again. I don't want to do it again. So as I mentioned in my ADHD-friendly membership, we are in the summer semester course, which is all about managing time and tasks. And all throughout August, we are working on how to build a consistency toolkit. Today, I'm doing, as I'm recording this, and a workshop on how to build your consistency toolkit. Ooh. So our challenges include that our brains are not consistently motivated by importance. Most people in the world are motivated by importance. This is important to me. It's important to you. So therefore, I will do it. That's not us. We are motivated by engagement, getting our brain engaged. So I've talked a lot about Dr. Dodson's ICNUP model, ICNUP, where interest, challenge or competition, urgency, novelty, and passion will get us into action. My passion is to find ways that work better for ADHD brains. And so it's why I do so much of what I do. Is I love sharing these tips in the hopes that even if one other person can hear something that's helpful and take it and use it, that's worth sharing it, because I know how often we are struggling, and we struggle in silence, and we try to hide the things that we're not good at. So that for me is a huge reason I've been able to do 200 episodes of this podcast. It is not about the numbers. I tracked the numbers for a while because I felt for a while I was getting this like, oh, if you don't have this many followers, then you really should just quit. You should give up. I get as much from doing this as for myself as I do sharing it, because the structure helps me continue putting things in place that I can bring back and share. So it works selfishly for me. And I really do hope that it's supporting others to notice what works for them. The accountability, I feel, is also a big piece. So if accountability works for you, look for where you can intentionally put it in place to support your consistency, whether it's checking in with someone, posting. In the membership, we have a feed where I use it to post like, okay, this is what I'm committing to doing today. And I will post a follow-up picture to show the after, like what progress I've made. So I lose track of things that are done here and there. I need routines to keep myself consistent. If I tried to just do things, if I said, I'm going to do yoga 4 times this week and just look for 4 opportunities, I can guarantee you I would not still be doing it, because I need that structure.
Yeah.
If I have to decide, it literally exhausts my brain to think, well, I don't know, let me think. Or if I have to figure out like, what routine will I do today? Oh my gosh, no, that's not it. So with the podcast, I'm going to start with the podcast. I thought about doing a podcast for years before I started. I wanted to do it. The idea was very sparkly. I knew that the structure would work for me because I was always coming across things. I was like, oh, I would love to share this, but I don't have a method to share. I don't have a platform to share it. And I got really bogged down in decisions and perfectionism, which is so classic with our brains. So I didn't know if I should do 1 podcast a month, or I should do 1 every week, or maybe like 1 a day, like a short little like tip of the day kind of thing. I didn't know how long to make the podcasts. If they, it was like researching all of this. Most people do 20 minutes. A lot of people do 30 minutes. Some people do an hour. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, do I do interview? Do I do solo? Where do I do it? I've changed where I record multiple times. I use different recording equipment.
Systems.
I didn't know how I would get it edited. I started out with Fiverr. Thank you. Yes. And then I was like, well, where do I even post it? How do I get it out there? And it was really, really hard to make all of these decisions. And then finally I was just like, you know what? I'm going to find my own way in. So I'm going to share that in a minute. The yoga routine. I tried to get into that after I ran my first and only half marathon. Be really clear. I don't make it sound like my first half marathon. And then there was one and done. That's it. I wanted to just experience. And that also was the accountability. I paid for the registration and I was like, well, by golly, I paid for it and I'm going to share my journey and do it. And as soon as it was over, I did nothing consistently for 21 months. I looked it up. I know. Thank you. Literally, I did the opposite of coach to half marathon. I did half marathon to coach to catch. I just stopped cold because there was no longer urgency. There was no longer accountability. There was no structure. I didn't like running, so I didn't want to keep running. And plus it was the dead of winter here when I ran the marathon at the beginning of January of 2020. I'm not going out in the snow. Like I was really lucky leading up to it that the weather was pretty good that last month I was training. But when I came back, it was hard because I ran it in Florida. So it was hard winter.
Yeah. It was rough.
So I was like, okay, well, now I'm done. I deserve a break.
I'm not running.
Getting back on that routine or any kind of routine was so difficult. I tried many things that didn't work. I tracked. I made workout menus. I bought new workout clothes and new shoes. And I tried yoga many times and it didn't work. So here's what worked for both of my 200 wins. Start stupid small. Like I can't even emphasize enough. So small that there's no way you won't do it. We're going for consistency. We're not going for every day I top the mountain. No, stupid small is the goal here. So define what your minimum is. For my yoga routine, it was 2 minutes on the mat, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. 8 minutes total for the week was my goal. But I couldn't do 8 minutes at one time. It had to be at least 2 minutes each of those 4 days. That was all I asked. So I can do more if I wanted to. It was just in the day. The trick here is to plan for your lowest motivation. Plan for the, oh my God, I am not going to feel like it day. Because then if it's small enough, you can still do it and check the box. You can always do more on days that you feel like doing more, but the goal is consistency. So if you think about at the end of a month, if you did something for 2 minutes on the days that you plan to do it, would that feel better than doing nothing the entire month because you set a goal to do 10 minutes each of those days and 10 minutes felt like it was too much? Or, you know, I want to read a chapter a day. Okay, but what if you read a page? You'd still get further in the book. Granted, not as far, but you'll get further than nothing, right? So it's all about that consistency because consistency gives you progress. With the podcast, I decided to just record one episode so I could see what it's like to record an episode. It was 5 minutes. I recorded it. I posted it. That was it. I just wanted to see what the process was like because I was so in my head with the perfectionism. I was just like, you just got to start.
Yeah.
And realize nobody's going to see it. Nobody's. And if they do, oh, well, like, okay, you're just trying. Number 2, make it easy to start. So with yoga, I always pick my next day's routine.
Oh, that's
so
smart.
Like today is Wednesday as I record this. I do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Tomorrow's is already queued up on my iPad. I keep the iPad in my bathroom because I do my yoga in my bathroom. I keep the yoga mat in my bathroom. Does it look great? No. No, it's a big blue yoga mat. You saw the picture I held up. If you're listening to this, check out my YouTube channel, ADHD-Friendly. You'll see it's a big and it's a fat yoga mat because my bathroom floor is a tile floor like most bathrooms. I can't lay on a thick mat on. So it's a 1 inch thick. It's nice. It's a 1 inch thick mat, and I have no resistance to putting the mat on the floor and sitting down for 2 minutes. But if I don't have a routine pulled up, and this was part of what I learned trying to do it multiple times in those 21 months, I had so much resistance in the morning. I was like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I have to decide. I'm really bad at having to make a decision before I start.
So you're half asleep.
Yeah, I just need to, exactly. It's so rote now. I just get the mat out. I put it on the floor. I sit down. I know there's a routine. I never remember. I always start it. Here's my other tip. I always start it until I see what's the first position. Do you sit on the mat or are you standing on the mat? That's all I need to know. So I know, do I want to get down on the floor or do I just want to stay standing up and then just go bend down to push play? That's all I do to make that really, really easy. And for the podcast, I have my corner set up. I learned many, many years ago, before I knew I had ADHD, I do not do well if I have to get things out and set it up every time and then put them back.
Yeah.
I am fortunate enough to have this corner in my office that I could permanently designate as my podcast area. And it's always here. Does it look great? No, because I've got, you know, like a stand and lights and things over here, but it works and I can leave it up. So it works well for me. And I have my structured planning sheets that I use. It uses a lot of paper because I don't tend to look on the back. So it's all one-sided. But it helps the structure. So I have a planning sheet that I use. I have, you know, each of the sheets that I just fill in with my information. And it really makes it easy for me to prep because I know the system and it works for me. And I've tweaked it so many times and I continue to tweak. Now they're just like little tiny tweaks, maybe every, you know, 3-6 months or so. But I only tweak what needs to be tweaked. And it's always from what I notice would work even better. And that's really helpful. And then my third tip is, oh, here's my picture. I knew I printed this picture, is to track your progress visually. So here's my original 12 months. That was my 1-year celebration of my yoga. I stinking love this picture. I think I love it so much because it goes right to the edge and it just looks like, look at that. Like I swear that still looks like more to me than the big picture of me on the driveway. I know, but it's very sparkly. This picture motivated me when I started coming up on, there's so many. And now the papers I have to say are gone. I threw them all away. They went out in the trash on Monday. So I was not tempted because it got so wrinkled. I was like, there's no way. All of those like were rolling around each other. So they took up no space. There was no way to get them back to that with all the tape I had to put on them. So taking a picture of this, but the tracker, if you look closely, you can see I'm only doing yoga Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I just put a little X every day I do it. And I have like on Thursday, I have the number of the week it is. And I just keep that going. Every time I tear off that month sheet, I start the next month just by writing down what number week it'll be when I get to that Thursday. Very sparkly. It keeps pulling me in. So track what you're doing visually. So that's how I track my yoga. On my podcast, I have a spreadsheet. Becca knows I do this. I used to use a visual, a concrete.
Yes.
I realized I had to have a way to keep up with the monthly topics easily. And then I also have been tracking, like, what's the product now that I share a product each week? What's the book of the week? So I know I get the books so confused in my head sometimes. I'm like, did I already share that book? I feel like I've already talked about it.
A lot.
And so I track what book I shared. And then, like, so the green means it's an episode I've already recorded and it's been out, it's launched out into the world. Orange means it's a podcast episode that has been recorded and it's either still being edited or it's scheduled, but it hasn't been released yet. And yellow are the topics I haven't done yet, but they're coming up. So it's episode 200. That's where we are right now. So today, after I record this, I will go and change that to orange. I'll change this new one, the first orange one, to green, because that came out today, this morning. And so it pulls me into seeing, like, what's coming up. And I can also see, like, oh, I'm starting to run out of topics, because I do plan multiple episodes ahead, and it helps me to see what's coming up and when. So track visually so you can see your progress and how it's going. Number 4, stack it with something else, like I talked about before for my tip of the week. Use a cue-based habit to help connect it to. So for me, like, I brush my teeth, then I do my yoga. For my podcast, I do it with Becca on Wednesdays because she knows we're going to record. So she always comes, she's like, are we recording today? I'm like, yes, we are. And the accountability helps me, but it also helps me to have her energy to play off of. When I tried to do it in a vacuum, and you guys know I still have to do this sometimes when our timing doesn't work out and I have to record it on my own, but I much prefer recording when she's working. And it also helps her when she's editing, because now Becca edits all of the podcasts. And so she knows if there's something to cut out, which doesn't happen a lot, but if it does, I don't have to try to remember, like, oh, I need to remember to tell her I had a coughing fit at this point. It just makes the editing a little bit quicker. And then number 5, celebrate completion, not perfection. Done is better than perfect. Remember my example of 2 minutes is better than nothing. It's allowing you to do what you can with what you have from where you are. So as you guys know, if you listen to this with any, even just this first episode, if this is your first time visiting, welcome. But it's not perfect. It is far from perfect. It is never going to be perfect. I'm sorry. If you're looking for perfect, please go find that somewhere else. And I mean that with great, like, love. Go into the world and find what you need, because it's not going to be here. If I expected that of myself, I would never be on 200 episodes, and I certainly wouldn't do the next one to get to 201. But reaching 200 weeks is its own form of perfection, because I allowed myself to not be perfect and to do what worked for me and to continue evolving. I really hope when I hit 300, this is not going to look the same, because I'm going to continue learning what works, and what the more feedback I get too, what works for you guys to get the information you need in the way that you need it. And then number 6, know and remember your why. Why are you doing the thing that you're doing, that you're trying to do consistently? If it's not for you, if it's not really clear what's in it for you to do it, it's going to be hard to be consistent. I get a lot from doing the work all the way through recording this podcast. I can't imagine not doing it, because it gives me so much. I also get an enormous amount from the yoga, and my goal is just to be flexible, and it continues even when I end up with little tweaks and injuries and things. I've just gotten really comfortable allowing myself to modify, instead of holding myself to, well, she's in a downward dog right now, I better do that downward dog. I'll like, okay, I'll go into like a extended child's pose because I tweaked, a muscle in my leg or something, and it hurts me to do that. Or I'll do a I can't think of another name of a pose because I'm not feeling under pressure, but allow yourself to do what you're doing by connecting to your why. And then finally, remember, it's about progress, not perfection. Pick one stupid thing to do consistently. Plan for life to get in the way. So you will get sick at some point, you'll catch a cold, you'll not have a good night's sleep and not be motivated. Maybe you'll go on vacation, you'll have a long weekend. You won't be in the mood. Like, life will get in the way. Plan for it and give yourself permission to tweak your routine so you can reset. Don't throw the whole thing out. What I did over those 21 months, well, I never succeeded in finding something until 21 months after the half marathon. I kept looking for new ways in. I kept noticing, okay, that didn't work. What else might work? So I wasn't consistent, but I was continuing to revamp what I was doing and figuring out what would work for me. So just like with the podcast, I record 2 weeks early because that buffer works for me. With yoga, I go back to my 2-minute minimum if I'm sick and I really need to dial it back so I can check it off. I've even done it while traveling. I've done it like in the airport. I've done it in, because I don't like to get like, I'm really weird about like hotel room floors. So I do very modified like things when I'm traveling, but I can always do my 2 minutes if I have to check the box. You don't need perfect systems. You need systems that work on your inconsistent days. That's what it's all about, guys. All right, let's wrap this up. I feel like I've been going on and on. Your book of the week. All right, it's a new one. It came out, as I'm recording this, it came out yesterday, but you'll be getting this 2 weeks from now. Came out on August 12th. And once again, I want to thank NetGalley for this advanced copy of The Incredible Kindness of Paper. It is by Evelyn Skye, and I picked it for the title alone. I thought, what a cool name for a book. It looks
so cool too, though.
It was a really, really happy book.
Ooh, you could tell by the yellow.
Yeah, I know, right? And it's colors like this is my happy room is blue and yellow.
Put it
I know, it's like the perfect book. So in a nutshell, it's about a woman who loses her job as a guidance counselor in a high school and decides that instead of like wallowing in like, what will I do next? Because she has no idea what she's going to do next. She lives in New York City and she decides to go out into the world and put kindness in it by writing little messages. This is what this is. She folds them into little origami roses and she writes on, they're all yellow, and she writes little messages on the paper, folds them up and leaves them around different places in New York City where a random person might find them. And she hopes that the positive message speaks to the person that finds it. And surprisingly, both to her and to those who find the little origami roses, the messages inside are exactly the message that they needed. And it's what she needed to do. So I love this. It was a very quick read. It was a little sappy at times, but I'll take the sappy because it was so positive.
Yeah.
And it had a little romance. It had a little intrigue. It was just really, really quite lovely. I gave it a 4 out of 5. Quick, lovely read. And I'm going to end with a quote from a book that my lovely assistant and friend gave me for my birthday, Peanuts, A Guide to Life. It's just so sweet. I've already flagged future quotes I've gone through and picked a few. And so here is my quick quote. This is from Snoopy. Need I say more? He says, "It is better to live one day as a lion than a dozen years as a sheep."
Ooh, I like
love that. And honestly, I picked it because it resonates, but it also reminded me of the book where she decides, you know what? I don't have to go find a job this minute. I'd rather take my time and do something I enjoy doing, which is, writing positive things. And she loves folding origami, and she decided like really intentionally, oh, yellow feels like a happy color. So I love that she kind of was like a lion there, instead of just kind of like going back to a routine or wallowing or, fretting. She was like, I'm just going to spend a little bit of time sending some positivity out into the world. And to me, that's like a lion. It's like being a lion can look different to each one of us. So think about what that might mean for you if that resonates with you. And I encourage you to find ways to make what you want in your life more consistent and more ADHD friendly. Until next time, tally ho.